Hello and welcome to Frankly Speaking, where we dive deep into regional headlines and speak with leading policymakers and business leaders. I am Katie Jensen. This week we speak with businessman Bahaa Hariri, the eldest son of Lebanon's former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri. 20 years after his father's assassination and 3 years after his younger brother quit politics, he says he's ready to return and revive his family's legacy. But can someone who has spent much of his life abroad speak for a nation in collapse? Is Lebanon really looking for another Hariri, or has it already moved on under new leadership? And what does he make of the recent political change, both in Lebanon and beyond? Mr. Hariri, thank you for joining us today on Frankly Speaking. Now, you've announced that you and your family will return permanently to Lebanon, a country you say is going through a delicate phase and needs sincere leaders. Frankly speaking, isn't this too little too late? What real difference will your return make?
Well, at the end, as I said, the situation is very delicate, and Lebanon needs people who are honest and who wants to make sure that Lebanon passes that delicate period. And it's more than anything, it's not about being too late or too early. It's about doing the right thing. And I think in life, that's what you have to do. And therefore, we are here to do the right thing, to be with our nation in the most delicate time, and to do our best in serving it and making sure that it passes that period. That, to me, I think not only in Lebanon, but in the region, that is extremely critical. Yes, and thank you for having me.
I mean, I think delicate is probably putting it lightly. The economy is in tatters. 80% of people are living in poverty, and disarming Hezbollah is certainly no easy task. But when we consider the bigger picture, it's been 20 years since your late father, the former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri, was brutally assassinated at the hands of Hezbollah. 3 years since your younger brother Saad quit politics and moved to Abu Dhabi. And the country now does seem to have moved on under the leadership of President Joseph Aoun and Prime Minister Tamam Salam, who many are saying are making courageous decisions. Tell me, is there still room for the Harirism which you say you now want to lead?
Well, it's up to the Lebanese people to decide about that. As I said, this is a country that nobody is more important. No individual is more important than his own nation. So we are here to help out. We are here with our, relations to do our best. And I can feel that it's very much needed because, as we see, like you said, the situation is in shambles. It's only getting worse, not getting better. And also, as a Lebanese citizen, I want to make sure Rafik Hariri had Syrian presence and had Hezbollah, and the economy went forward. It's not only about, like you mentioned, disarming Hezbollah. He had many, many issues in front of him, but the economy picked up. Well, till today, there is nothing picking up. So I'm quite concerned, to the very least, to say where the situation is. So yes, I'm... like you said, the economy is in shambles. Nothing is moving. The lira is not. So that's quite of a concern for any normal Lebanese, and as a Hariri, to see things stagnating and even getting worse, to sit on the side and do nothing.
I mean, I think when we focus on Hezbollah in particular, you've previously said any alliance with Hezbollah was a mistake. Yet your brother Saad shook hands with Nasrallah and even former Syrian President Assad, decisions which raised a lot of questions and, quite frankly, many say made his leadership questionable. Tell me, do you blame him for the collapse of the Hariri influence?
Well, Hariri influence is very much present, as I think in this situation. Hariri is a word to unify. It's not here to divide. But I can assure you, under Rafik, there was no minister of Hezbollah. He made sure that there is a big difference, even though, for him is to the Shia community, he made sure that they are part of the equation. And we saw on his funeral more than 70% came to the funeral from everywhere, from the south and the Bekaa Valley. And plus, I want to emphasize something that is very important. I am not here, but only to continue the legacy of Rafik Hariri. My brother, I love him, but he can speak for his legacy. I'm not here to speak for himself, but I'm here only and only is to continue the Rafik Hariri legacy.
Okay, you said something similar the last time you appeared on our program a few years ago. Again, you said you love your brother, but you don't agree with him politically. Tell me, do you speak to Saad today? Does he support your return to Lebanon?
I'm not here to seek his support, as I said, or wanting anything. I'm here only to continue the Rafik Hariri legacy. I'm not here to seek his support. I love him as my brother. I care about him tremendously. I always make sure that he is fine. But at the end of the day, I'm not seeking anyone's support. But I am here. I've always, as you know, I'm gonna be 60 in April. I've always lived by the values of Rafi in my business and everything I've done. And I'm not here to take anyone's continuation, but Hariri legacy. Hariri, my dad, bless his soul. That's the only thing that I am bound to.
Okay, so you say that you don't seek his approval. Tell me, are you in touch with him these days?
This is family issue, but we at the end, blood is never water. I can tell you that, and we always ask about each other and make sure that everyone is fine. Yes.
Okay. Well, obviously a lot has changed since the last time.
On the family side, I mean, on the family side, because blood is thicker than water, like we say.
But still estranged, it feels at the moment, you would say.
I said, as a family, you have to make sure, if his finger is wounded, I have to make sure he's fine.
Okay.
So as a family, blood is thicker than water, as a family.
As the family as a whole. Well, tell me, the last time you were on this program, you spoke with my colleague, Frank Kane. There's been sweeping changes since then. Of course, there's now a political reality in Syria. Tell me, I'm interested, do you feel vindicated by Assad's downfall? Are you glad to see him gone? And do you think he should be prosecuted? Should he be on trial? Should he be in prison?
To me, I'm very glad that a massive tyranny that cost 700,000 dead under his leadership, the disintegration of Syria. I'm very glad for the Syrian people. And I wish all the best for the Syrian leadership to move forward. As we know, they have elections. Many components, even minorities, are being introduced. And it's crystal clear, even the ones who don't want to be in the elections, their seat is there, they respect them, and they are more than welcome to join that process. So I think also the international community has given its blessing on where Syria is going. And I think the elections that are going to be seen and will start the process in 10 days. I think, if we look at the statement from everywhere, there is a blessing. The title is Diversity, Plurality, and Moderation. And this is a Hariri way of moving forward, because we don't have blood on our hands, and this is something that is very positive, and I'm very glad for the Syrian people, and I wish the best for the Syrian administration to move forward with that way. Yes.
Sure, but do you think further action should be taken against former President Assad? Should he be on trial in prison? Do you feel he should be prosecuted for the war crimes?
I think the most important thing, yes, it's the Syrian people who decide. I'm not Syrian, as you know. I'm
But
Lebanese.
I'm asking your
Yes, I think he
where
has
do
to
you
be
stand?
with the genocide, with the killing that happened, everything. He has to be prosecuted. It is something that is an international standard. When we have 700,000 people who were killed, literally killed, I think there has to be the rule of law that is above all. That he has to. The families have to have the right to ask for that, and it's crystal clear there are, and we are fully supporting the demands of their family for, of course, the rule of law, not by blood, but the rule of law to prevail, and that there is a trial and that there is prosecution.
Tell me, how do you assess Syria's new president, al-Shara, for Lebanon in particular? Do you see an opportunity or a threat?
No, I believe, as I said, it's crystal clear to me that there is a blessing from everywhere. And it's crystal clear now that the elections, there were doubts about it, but some bad mouthing that it's not going to be negative. Well, it's crystal clear that many have joined. Patriarch Yazigi, whom I met here, so Sharia, things are fine. That's 2.5 million Orthodox. You have the Shia, that's looking good. We have the Alawites also coming in. As I said, the others who don't want to be in, they're welcome when they decide to be in that equation and believe they are part of Syria. So when I see moderation, plurality, and diversity, and then I'm very, very comfortable, and I wish him all the best in moving forward with his nation.
And tell me, you've always had close ties to Saudi Arabia. What are your thoughts on the Saudi-brokered Lebanese-Syrian defense deal?
To us as Hariri, we've always had a long-term relationship with the Saudis. This goes back to the 80s. So to me, it's very important that Saudi Arabia, for me personally, for us to have a special relationship with Saudi Arabia. As you know, I think you're Australian or South African.
Yes,
One
Australian.
Of the two, and you're part of the realm. And I know Great Britain has a special relationship with the United States. It doesn't get any closer. And what I wish is for Lebanon and Saudi Arabia to have a very special relationship. That's my position.
We are certainly seeing more of it move that way in the last year or two. Tell me, last year, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah was killed. Huge headlines around the world. For you on a personal front, do you feel vindicated? Do you felt he got what he deserved given Hezbollah's role in your father's assassination? Because it seems unlikely that assassination would have been carried out without Nasrallah's approval. Wouldn't you agree?
I've always believed in life not to be consumed by revenge, because if I was, I would be, nothing would be left of my soul in the last 20 years. I believe the will of the mighty happens, it happens. But to me, what's important is the unity of the Lebanese, and I think that's what Rafik wanted, bless his soul, is we sympathize with the pain of the Shia community. They are part of the equation. As they sympathize with the death of Rafik, the assassination, they came in huge numbers. We sympathize in their pain. We don't agree with what happened.
But do you feel vindicated given Nasrallah's role in your father's assassination 20 years ago?
To me, it's justice. I think if the whole planet wanted to get rid of a person, if it's not divine will, I'm a man who believes, and I think the divine will is for that to happen. And as I said, if the whole of humanity wanted a person to go, and the divine will, he will not, then he will not go. Well, the divine will happened, and he's gone, and now we have to move forward, and that's the divine will is the vindication. To me, that's what's important.
Okay, well, let's talk about where we stand today with Lebanon, because earlier this year we all heard President Joseph Aoun's inauguration speech pledging to empower the army, fight corruption, restore confidence. Some big ambitions here. Tell me, do you think the president might have been a tad over-ambitious in his pledges?
As I said, I'm not here to speak in his where he wants to be. There are things I don't know. As I know, I'm not in the security apparatus. I don't get reports of what's going on the ground or not. But
sure,
as the president,
earlier in the interview, you told me that things were getting worse in Lebanon. 5 minutes ago, you told me things are getting worse. Things are not getting better. So clearly, you feel he's not been able to fulfill these pledges. Was he too ambitious so far?
No, and I think also there is the pressure from the outside that nothing is going to go through before there is a resolution on the arms of Hezbollah. This is where the art of governing. Rafik had Hezbollah armed. We had Syrian presence. We were under Syrian administration. We were able to move forward. I hope that the actual administration find ways to make the country ease the pain of the people, and so the country can move forward. And as I said, yes, the situation is critical. And that's why I'm here to find ways to ease the pain, because the people are really suffering here now. And we have to make sure that this suffering eases, and so the country can move forward.
I mean, let's be blunt, though. None of those pledges are even close to being met. Obviously, there's the huge task of disarmament of Hezbollah, but also IMF reform stalled, banks still frozen, corruption persists. So do you think President Aoun, is he naive? Is he inspiring? Has he already failed?
I would not say that the failure is, he's barely in his first mandate. And I think also experience is very important. I hope he has a long time. He has 6 years. He's only barely 7 months within or 8 months within his mandate. I hope that in life you reach a point you start learning, and I hope through that learning process he can move forward and we can take the country into another place. That's what I wish for him.
Well, tell me, what are your thoughts on a Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, a fellow Sunni, respected judge, known for being a reformer? But there are questions wondering whether he is incapable of delivering what Lebanon needs, or whether that the mission is impossible no matter who is Prime Minister.
No, I don't think we were in a much more impossible situation, which was the civil war, and that stopped. And many of the militias delivered back their arms. He's a judge. I respect him. He has integrity. I even told him that myself. The integrity is there. As I said, let's see how he's gonna. Studying files. Usually they tell you have the first 100 days. Maybe the situation is so complex it takes more. I'm not here to be judgmental. I'm not the type who is judgmental. Let's say where this is gonna go, and from there on, with time, we will make our judgment. We will take our stand.
I mean, many have been praising the new Prime Minister for his hard line on Hezbollah. You said on this program a few years ago, though, there is no room for a patch-up solution. Do you think really he has the ability to be able to fully disarm Hezbollah?
To me, what's important in this is in Lebanon, there are many stakeholders. The Shia has extension. Arab Shiism started, Arab theology started in Jabal Amil, not even Najaf. And then it transferred. If we talk about a bit history, and then it transferred to Iraq. I think we have to make sure that all the stakeholders on the table agree of how after the debacle of Hezbollah, how to take the country, move forward. There has to be leadership and trust, and that's what is needed badly now for us to move forward.
And of course, there's been ongoing meetings this week about the disarmament, but of course, huge challenges. And I think even if Salam tries, the risk is army division, even civil war. Do you think there is any way to avert that, or is it inevitable if Prime Minister Salam pushes through with his pledges?
I made a statement 2 days ago that I'm completely against wreaking havoc and causing a civil war. That is, even though I stand very firm in my position when it comes to institutional governance, the rule of law, and nation state. That to me are prerequisites for us to move forward. But also, as a Hariri, it's a red line to wreak havoc and cause bloodshed, because it costed us the last time 250,000. It's not acceptable that we go into a place where we're already in a very critical situation. Any situation that puts us in that tunnel, it will be a very dark tunnel. And then I can tell you, I don't know if we can get out of it, which is very dangerous. And that is one of the main reasons why I'm here, to make sure that this does not happen.
So what do you see as a realistic scenario going forward then?
Consensus. Rafik Hariri always believed in building consensus. When he said to me once, consensus means nobody is a winner and nobody is a loser, which means we have to sit down and discuss and reach a consensus to take the country forward. We are all stakeholders, and we have to make sure through that consensus we can take the country forward. And also, I think leadership, bless his soul, he had leadership. And from there on, we can move forward through consensus and leadership. And take the country into a new place. So to me, I have one word for that, is to build consensus and leadership. That's what I think the country needs.
Of course, easier said than done. We've seen Lebanon in political deadlock for several years now. It's only starting to be potentially resolved now. Let me ask your thoughts on the US support, though, because we've seen envoys come and go, promising help, but also warning Lebanon. Tom Barrack, Morgan Ortagus, they have been back and forth into Lebanon, making all sorts of criticisms on the one hand, but also pledging support on the other. Let me ask you, Mr. Hariri, if push does come to shove, do you believe Washington would truly defend Lebanon and its army?
To us, we always appreciate the relationship. As you know, I established the Hariri Center more than 16 years ago in the Atlantic Council. I'm an ardent supporter of the transatlantic relationship. We just nominated John Wilkes, who's a veteran in British politics, for an office, who's the key leader in making sure that this transatlantic relationship is very important. So I'm an extreme supporter of that relationship. The United States must be fully engaged. We fully appreciate the support that it has given, not only today, but throughout the years, especially to the Lebanese army. And I surely truly believe, yes, pressure, but at the end of the day, they want solutions. And we agree with them that there has to be a solution to move forward. So, and I truly believe if they commit, they will help.
But is it little more than just lip service? The US won't put boots on the ground and Israel gains from Lebanese division. So isn't Prime Minister Salem right to be cautious here?
We have to be, as I said, it's a very sensitive period. Every day there is something happening right now. The situation is extremely fluid, and we have to make sure that we don't make a step that could take us into a very dangerous situation. So yes, it is a very critical situation. But going back to the United States, I truly believe that with the right approach, we can move forward, because they are an absolute must in making sure how we can move forward. We saw Ukraine. I'm an international businessman. It's very important for us to engage the United States and make sure that they are approving on where we go. But as a Hariri, I always believe consensus is the key, and leadership is the key for us to move forward.
Well, Mr. Hariri, you're very diplomatic. You're very diplomatic. Let me ask you, though, what do you make of the recent speech of the Speaker of the Parliament, Nabir Berri? He seems to have divided opinions on whether he is actually supportive of disarming Hezbollah or warning against it. Now, I know you know him personally. Tell me, behind the scenes, away from the cameras, where does he really stand?
I don't know him personally. That's one. Never met him. That's two. I wish him, as all the best as being a leader in Lebanon, and for him to lead, to make sure that we don't enter into a black hole. I think he has a responsibility toward the Shia community to make sure that they are, with the change, that they are a key stakeholder. It's not like disarm and then what? The post-disarm, where do we go from here? I think that's the question. We have to make sure that all the stakeholders, the Shia community, are a key component of the Lebanese configuration. We cannot ignore that they do not exist. That is a recipe for disaster to me. When we have to make sure that they are engaged and they are a key player in the Lebanese situation, because they've been here for over 1,200 years since they established themselves in Jabal Amil in the 8th century. So to say that they are not a key player, it's a disaster.
Well, tell me though, as the most senior Shiite politician in Lebanon, can he even tell Hezbollah their time is up?
To me, I truly believe with the right configuration and the right approach, where we can convince all the stakeholders we can move forward, I think there is one, with the right leadership.
Tell me, final question for you tonight. What is your message to Hezbollah's leadership, to Naim Qassem, and to all of those threatening Lebanon's stability if disarmament goes ahead?
Shiism established itself in the 8th century in Jabal Amil. Shia theology, which was moderation, happened there, and then it transferred to Najaf. We have to think of that community and how they can be a stakeholder in a new Lebanon, so we can take Lebanon and move forward, because the reality is going to happen in no time in Syria and Iraq. And that reality will exert a new way to move forward. And it is best for us to say, let us adapt ourselves, be all stakeholder, sit down and move forward.
Well, certainly some massive challenges ahead.
And that message is to the Shia community.
Okay. I was about to say, Lebanon's economy really does feel like it's on life support, threats of civil war as well. Certainly some huge challenges ahead. Mr. Hariri, thank you for joining us today on Frankly Speaking, though. We appreciate your insights, so thank you.
Thank you for your time again.